It's almost St. Patrick's Day. My name is Eben, and in honor of all things Irish, I have a special book for you this time. This book is called Shannon and the World's Tallest Leprechaun. Shannon and the World's Tallest Leprechaun, written by Sean Callahan, illustrated by Kathleen Kembley, and it was published by Albert Whitman and Company, Morton Grove, Illinois. There are some inscriptions here. It says, "For Sophie and Charlotte, my favorite Irish dancers," that's Sean Callahan, and "For my mom, Bob," from Kathleen Kembley. Shannon loved to step dance, but she didn't think she looked like an Irish step dancer. Other girls had fancy wigs. She curled her own hair for competitions. Other girls had expensive dresses from Ireland. Shannon's mom had made her dress. There is poor Shannon looking in the mirror at her homemade dress and her hair that, well, it's her hair, it's not a wig. And on her dresser is a little doll that gives us a picture of what Shannon wished she looked like, because this doll has a very colorful dress and a curly wig on her head. And other girls had brand new hard shoes. Shannon had an old second-hand pair with scuffs no amount of shining could cover. And shining shoes is what people do to make them look like they're new and nice. It was 3 days before the St. Patrick's Day step dance contest, held at the Irish American Heritage Center. Shannon didn't think she'd win, but she was practicing anyway when, with a loud, sharp crack, the heel snapped off her left shoe. Oh no! She knew her mom and dad couldn't afford to buy her new shoes. But how could she enter the contest with a broken heel? And the heel of the shoe is the little piece that she's holding in her hand, and that's what all your weight rests on. And it's from the back of the foot. And for hard shoes, that's what makes the sound when people dance. It's a very important piece. And it's broken clean off of her old shoe, and she's holding it in her hand and looking really unhappy and surprised, because the thing that she needs to dance is broken. But there in her room is an orange striped cat sleeping on her bed with her checkerboard quilt. It was hopeless. Blinking back tears, Shannon went outside to throw her shoes in the garbage. Suddenly, she remembered something her dad had told her once when she was sad. If you closed your eyes and counted backwards in Gaelic, the ancient Irish language, a leprechaun might appear to grant a wish. There was nothing to lose. Shannon closed her eyes and counted. A hucht, a shocked, a shay, a cuig, a caher, a tree, a doe, a hane. There is Shannon holding her broken shoes and counting backwards in Gaelic from 10. and the orange kitty has followed her outside to the trash can. Kitty looks like she's got a curious smile on her face. What do you think's going to happen next? Do you think that a leprechaun is going to appear for Shannon? She opened her eyes. Standing before her was a bearded man wearing a shoemaker's leather apron. He looked just like she imagined a leprechaun would, except that he wasn't a wee man. "You must be 6 feet tall," she blurted. "If you must know," the man said, frowning, "I'm 5'11". I am Liam, the world's tallest leprechaun." And there is Shannon, dropping her shoe in surprise, because before her is standing a giant of a man in a green coat with gold buttons and a nice long beard and full head of hair, like you'd imagine a leprechaun would, except he's much too big to be a little leprechaun. And he's got his shoemaker's apron with a little hammer on his waist here. And that could come in handy for fixing her broken horseshoe. And the kitty is hiding behind the corner of the shed. Kitty wasn't expecting to see a leprechaun, let alone a 5'11" leprechaun. "Are you really a leprechaun?" Shannon asked. "Yes, yes, yes," Liam said, exasperated. "I get that all the time. Are you sure you're a leprechaun? You're way too big to be a leprechaun. But let's get down to business. Because your counting has summoned me here, I'm obligated to grant you 3 wishes, 1 each day for the next 3 days." Shannon thought only a moment. "I wish for a brand new step dance outfit, a wig, a beautiful dress, and shoes with heels that won't break off." "A wig? A dress?" the leprechaun scoffed. "Oh! What do these have to do with dancing? But a shoe, you do need that. Give me your broken one. I'll show you how to take care of the perfectly fine stuff you already have." And there is Liam, the 5'11" leprechaun, holding up 3 fingers for the 3 wishes that Shannon will be granted very soon. And Shannon has her finger on her chin, thinking just a moment of what she'd like for her wishes. And the kitten has moved to the trash can. I wonder what that little orange kitten would wish for with 3 wishes. But here on the other page is how Shannon imagines she would look like if she were outfitted like a real Irish step dancer. That's what she'd want to be. He took the shoe, pulled a hammer and nails from his apron, and drove a nail through the heel and into the sole. "Now you try," he said. Shannon pounded in another nail. "Good as new, even better," the leprechaun said. "That's your first wish." Before Shannon could protest that having her shoe repaired wasn't her wish at all, Liam had vanished. And there is Mr. Liam holding the shoe and showing Shannon how to pound in a nail. And Shannon is holding the hammer with 2 hands, and she's concentrating carefully because she's got her tongue sticking out of the corner of her mouth. And it's a good thing that she's paying close attention to what the hammer is doing, because she could very easily hit Liam's hand with that hammer. That would hurt very much. At dinner, Shannon was very quiet. Her mother asked her what was wrong. "What do leprechauns look like?" Shannon asked. Her dad laughed. "Well," he said, "they're usually drawn with beards." "They're also pretty small," her mom added. "Maybe a foot high." So how could that tall person be a leprechaun? Shannon wondered. And there is Shannon at dinner, asking her parents what leprechauns are like, and her dad is laughing and reminding her that they're bearded, and her mother is reminding her that they're usually tiny. And it looks like Shannon's family is sitting down to a spaghetti dinner, and they've got a loaf of bread on the table. And in the corner here is that faithful orange-striped cat who's been following Shannon since the story began. The cat is taking a nice nap. After school the next day, Shannon rushed to the backyard. Would the leprechaun return? She was about to count backwards in Gaelic when there he was, wagging his finger in her face. "No need to count again," he said grumpily. "I'm a leprechaun who does what he says he'll do. Let's have that second wish, lass." Shannon was ready. "I wish I were a great Irish step dancer," she said. "Did you know the best way to get better at something is to teach someone else how to do it?" demanded Liam. "This afternoon you'll be showing me how to dance." Now Shannon was grumpy. "Don't you ever just grant wishes? Does everyone have to work so hard?" "I'm no fairy godmother," Liam said. "I grant wishes in a proper manner." "Are you really a leprechaun? You sure don't look like one." Liam glowered at her. "I know I'm very tall," he said, "but I'm the best leprechaun that ever was. How I look doesn't matter. How I grant wishes does. Now show me how to dance." And there is Liam bending over and pointing an admonishing finger at Shannon, who's feeling grumpy and pouting because she was expecting that she would be getting her wishes granted immediately. But this Liam character is making her put forth some effort in order to get what she wants. Isn't that always the way it is in life? So on the patio, in the cool March air, Shannon started the leprechaun's dance lesson. She showed him how to hold his arms at his sides and keep his head high and his back straight. Then she demonstrated a simple treble jig, and a jig is an Irish word for dance. "Floor, knee, hop back, 2, 3, 4, she called. And there is Shannon demonstrating the proper way to dance. She's got her arms by her side and her legs are directly under her. And here is Liam demonstrating the wrong way to dance. If you've ever tried to dance before, you'll know that Liam is not doing it the right way. He has got his arms very far out and his legs are spread wide, and they are not directly under his body, so he's having a very hard time balancing. He looks almost like a spider. And he's dropping all his tools. There go his pliers and his hammer. first, Liam danced like a rag doll, his limbs going every which way. But after a long, grueling practice, they were dancing together in perfect time. "You know, I think that's the best I've ever danced," Shannon said, out of breath. "What did I tell you about teaching, lass?" the leprechaun said. "It's great practice." Shannon closed her eyes and wiped some sweat from her face. When she opened her eyes again, Liam was gone. There is Shannon with a big smile, and Liam is smiling too, and both of them look very much alike now. It looks like Liam is a quick learner because he's doing it the right way, and Shannon is feeling good about the way she's dancing with Liam. She feels like she's getting better by showing the leprechaun what to do. And there on the wall is that little orange cat who's watching the dance lesson with a smile. And Liam's tools are still on the ground. I hope he didn't forget them when he vanished. Shannon ran into the house. "If you met a leprechaun, what would you wish for?" she asked her dad. "Gold, of course," her father said. "Leprechauns are supposed to hide a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Why all the questions about leprechauns?" "Oh, you know, St. Patrick's Day and all," Shannon said at last. The next day, Liam again appeared in the backyard. Right away, Shannon asked, "Do you have a pot of gold buried at the end of the rainbow?" "Aye, 'tis true," Liam said. "Did you Google me or something?" "Is it within the rules for me to wish for some of your gold?" "'Tis, and if you practice some more tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day, you will have some," he said, grinning. Again, the leprechaun and Shannon danced together. When Liam disappeared, for the first time ever, Shannon felt she could win. There is Shannon sitting on the steps, and she's got curlers in her hair because she does not have a curly wig to wear at the dance festival, so she's doing things herself. And she's asking Liam about his pot of gold, which is on the other page. Some of that glittering treasure. And it looks like the orange kitty has warmed up to Liam because the cat is rubbing against his shin and enjoying Liam's affectionate head scratch. It was drizzling on St. Patrick's Day as Shannon walked confidently to the Irish American Heritage Center. But when she saw Bridget in her fine curly wig, Colleen in her fancy dress, and Meg in her new hard shoes, Shannon began to lose heart. She just didn't look like a step dancer. There's poor Shannon. She's done a marvelous job curling her hair, but she's seeing the other girls with their bright, colorful dresses imported from Ireland and their new, shiny black shoes and their luxurious curly wigs. And she just doesn't feel like she has the same chance that they do because she doesn't look the part. It's a hard feeling to be up against. Suddenly, it was her turn to dance. she went on stage with only her own curls, wearing her homemade dress and scuffed up hard shoes. Now it was raining even harder. Oh, what was the point? She looked out at the crowd. There were her mom and dad, smiling at her. She gave them a little smile back. Then she saw the Leprechaun. His silly hat towered over the crowd, and he winked at her. Shannon took a deep breath. If Liam could grant wishes looking nothing like a leprechaun, maybe she could dance in her old shoes. And there is Shannon in her homemade green dress, and she's actually got a ribbon with a green stripe, a white stripe, and an orange stripe, which is the flag of Ireland. And there in the front row are her mom and dad under the blue umbrella. And then all the way back is a tall figure in the distance under the little red umbrella who's got a full head of blonde hair and seems to be a lot taller than everyone else. And he's got a funny little hat balanced on that head of his. So I wonder if that's Liam, who came to see Shannon dance. When the violinist started to play, Shannon thought only about dancing. Her curls bounced, her dress swirled, and her shoes thumped. She danced the most beautiful treble jig she had ever danced. The rain stopped, and the sun broke through the clouds. Shannon curtsied, and the crowd cheered. Someone shouted, "Brilliant!" She knew it was Liam. There is Shannon on stage, thinking only of dancing, giving her best treble jig ever, while the musicians play on stage behind her. And sure enough, there is the green stripe, the white stripe, and the orange stripe of the Celtic flag. And down here at the bottom of the page are the judges. And on the judges' clipboard it says treble jig score, and the very first name is Megan. And Megan has done pretty well. She's got a 3, a 4, and a 3 for a total of 10 points. And beneath Megan is Shannon. And Shannon has 2 5s, which is a perfect score. But Shannon's last number is blank, which means that even if Shannon gets a 1 for her last number, she could do better than Megan. When Shannon won first prize, she caught sight of a rainbow arcing across the sky. It seemed to point right to the shining medal hanging around her neck. So this was the leprechaun's gold. There is Shannon smiling up at the rainbow, which is falling on the golden medallion of the first prize award hanging from her neck. And she's got a big bouquet of golden flowers. And the other girls, even though they were much better dressed, much more colorful, they all had new shoes and tiara crowns. Shannon won. She looked for Liam in the crowd. He had vanished once more, but she could have sworn she heard him whisper in her ear, "Happy St. Patrick's Day, Shannon!" And that is the end of the story as we watch Liam marching down the green hills under the rainbow, far away with his pot of gold in hand. So, maybe with a caring friend and a lot of hard work, you can make your own magic sometimes. And maybe you don't need to have all the things that make you look nice or that you think the kind of person you want to be might need. Maybe you just need a determined spirit and a little luck of the Irish, and you can get that Leprechaun golden medal too. Thank you so much for listening, and I also would like to thank my mother, who's behind the camera, and Miss Amy, and all my friends at the library for making this video possible. I hope that you have enjoyed and that you have had a happy St. Patrick's Day. I'll see you next time. Bye!